Depends on your geographical location. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to viewers at home and abroad. Today it's another day for us to look at issues that are affecting us. I'm your host, Oyinkro, aka Electricity. Now, some of you must have read the description and seen the thumbnail and be wondering what it's all about. And I will explain further down the course of this broadcast. Well, before I go, I will delve into the broadcast. I watched the broadcast on the 16th, the exchange between Dr. Chidi and Mr. Lexi. And that is the favorite part of that particular broadcast. The reason being that Dr. Chidi was very firm, respectful, but at the same time, he was able to make his point clear. And I think that is a position most of us should start to take by now, by speaking truth to one another, not half truth, because there's no gray area to the truth. So it has to be truth. If it's not the whole truth and nothing but the truth, then indeed it is what? It is false or a lie. So that particular aspect of that broadcast was very interesting. And we need to start to take exceptions over certain things. And I must commend Dr. Chidi for his position. I've watched that video, and not too long I spoke with Rudolph that I am going to edit that particular video for a future broadcast that I will be running. Yeah. In that same broadcast, sorry for further, I'm not sure if you are coming in, but if you are coming in, you can help yourself. My apologies for that. In that same broadcast, there were some few arguments which prompt me, or claim or statement made by the righteous man, about which motivated me or pushed me to run this broadcast. It was not something I planned to do because there's a scheduled broadcast for tomorrow and next tomorrow. So we need to start to speak truth to ourselves. Now, as most of you know, my nickname or my stage name is Electricity, which many Nigerians can relate to it. And so when we pick a stage name, sometimes questions need to be asked as to why you pick this stage name. It must represent something. And some people have their name, which is fair, which is just stick to the name. So the case being made by some panelists on that broadcast is Nigeria is a peculiar case. I was forced to come into that broadcast to kind of understand what they're trying to say. And like I said, if you read the description, you will see the statement that was made that Nigeria requires a very special application to solve its problem. And I keep asking, what do they mean by requires a special application? What happened to the existing application? What special application is what required? Before they put those in the comment section, we start to comment. I'm going to highlight the questions that we are going to deliberate on. We are not going to sidetrack from this question, just to make sure this broadcast go according to how it is designed. What special application does the country require, or do we require, to move the nation forward or to turn it around? Why would Nigeria need a special application? What about the existing applications that we have? Now, I'm not taking a jibe at the righteous man, but if we go by his name or his nickname, so one of these days I am going to ask him why the choice of that name. But if we go by that stage name, one of the applications that is being applied in the country is prayer. Now, it's only God that answers prayer. So I am not in a position to determine whether God has been answering our prayer or not. But in James, I believe, chapter 5, verse 16, if I'm correct, it said, the fervent, effectual prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So he took that name, righteous man. And so one of the applications, existing application, is what? It's prayer. Another existing, some of the applications are good, some of them are bad. Democracy is a good application. Section 60110 is a good application. Peaceful protest is another application. Coup is another application. So we can continue to name this application over and over and over and over. So we have existing application. But what threw me off balance when some of them made the argument that, oh, the people on the ground are powerless. And I kind of wondering, why would some people take such a position that the people on the ground are powerless? Hence the thumbnail of what? Of the thumbnail and the inscription on the thumbnail, Sons of Anarchs. Now, the Anakims are literal giants between 8 to 10 feet, if from what I've read so far, and also they are built or trained for war. Nevertheless, irrespective of their build and their ability to go to war, just like Goliath, they were still what? Overcome. So, what application was used then to what? To overcome these giants? In the present context, the giants we are referring to are the politicians and the so-called cabals in Nigeria. That people claim that they are so powerful, as such, the people are powerless. We must understand that what we say at times, what we utter out of our mouth at times, most of the times is responsible for even weakening people and making them even feel or think that what they are powerless. I remember one of the panelists said the power is in the tongue, and which is very true. But he also contradicted himself by saying that the people are powerless. The power that be they can't do anything because of the power that be. We must be careful in this regard. But that's by the wayside. What special application is required in the context of Nigeria? What is Nigeria going through that has never happened on the face of earth before? As such, requires a very special application. What about the existing application? These are the questions we need to start asking one another, because if we are going to turn the country around, then we have to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth, not half truth. There is no gray area in respect to the truth. So, what special application is required to turn the country around? So, if you're joining this broadcast, you're welcome to join. You can on the comment section. You are also welcome to comment and let me know if indeed we really need a special application from the existing application. And I did give the definition in the context of the claim that we require a special application to turn the country around. Have we finished exhausting the current applications that we have? If so, then we would need a special application. If not, then why don't we start to what? Agree on the current applications that we have, pick them, filter them, then we now take the one that we agree on it and push for it. The issue is that we don't push for it, we the people, and I keep saying this over and over and over again. And if you disagree with me, let me know. We don't push for it. Now, I did put something out there earlier. I'll put it back again, and I'll put it again. This is it, showing up here that freedom comes free, but it is not without cost. For the argument went further when we cannot compare Nigeria to any other country. There's no basis of comparison to Nigeria and Togo or the Western world. To be honest, I still don't understand why people make such a claim. Because if we cannot compare, it's as a basis of us comparing or looking at them. That is why most Nigerians in Africa run away in thousands or move away in thousands from Africa to the Western world. Because what? Because of comparison. Oh, don't you say how things is there? Life is good. How there? Life is that. Life is this. It's a basis of comparison. If we don't compare, why would we not? We see it on the television. We heard it over the news. Families that are over and abroad tells us. That gives reasons for comparison. To say, listen, you know what? Let me go see or try for myself. But they didn't get to where they are today without someone or some people paying the price for that freedom. As such, it becomes free for those of us who are no longer in Nigeria and we are out there. That freedom becomes free for us. But it came at a cost that you and I probably will never understand. We may read it, but we'll never understand. So until we come to that point and in agreeing as to what application do we need to apply to turn that country around, we will keep going in circles like the children of Israel went in circles for 40 years. And those who sowed that seed of discouragement, unfortunately, into the minds of people responsible for them, we will continue in circles. I know the argument is, some have argued that we are like the children of Israelite and whatever it is. Well, if we go by the argument, then we're going to go in circles for 40 years because of this seed of discouragement that is being sown, that we are not able to come together and take hold back or take back of the country. Yes, we can. Unfortunately, some of us have taken that position. And I wish we all would start to take position of Dr. Chidi, where he was able to take exception to certain things because he did not agree. And for crying out loud, we must not applaud bad behaviors, no matter what it is. So, what special application is required to turn the country around? This was a claim made by Righteous Man on the 16th of September, the broadcast that was held on the 16th of September 2023, that the country required a very special application. And I really want to know, I hope he will come and defend that claim that the country requires a special application. What is that special application? Why would Nigeria need a special application? Nigeria is not the most corrupt country in the world. There is no document that shows that Nigeria is the most corrupt. So there are other countries that are more corrupt than Nigeria. Nigeria is not the only country that does not respect the will of the people. So what is therefore peculiar about Nigeria? And as such, it requires a very special application? Why disregard the existing application? Why not apply the current applications that we have on ground? If we can only agree on one, and let's push for it and make them understand that indeed they are sons of Anakims, but nevertheless, they are not invisible. They can be overcome only if we agree on which application we want to use. If we are going to use the application of succession, then let's go with it and follow due process. Let's apply due process. Let's apply the procedure in that regard. So, what special application is what is required to turn the nation around? So we must be very careful. Like I keep saying this to those of us who are privileged to sit down and moderate and bring shows and talk about, particularly focus on Nigeria. I got a call some few days ago by one guy in Abuja who I think his name is Samuel Gabriel. I mean, he called me and he said he listens to the show a lot and everything. And I'm glad. I mean, he's on the positive side and also highlighted some rhetorics that are not that good. People listening, and for us to encourage, galvanize these people, we must maintain a positive attitude. And we all know what the problem of the country is. So, therefore, our message has to be positive. We cannot say we care for the country so much that we now have to discourage people. No, the people are not powerless. They are more powerful than the powers that be. And the more we push that positive message out there, the more they pick up gradually. But that the country requires a special application to turn it around. I still need someone to tell me, particularly the individual that makes the claim. And those who agree to that claim that the country requires a special application to turn it around. What is that special application? What is that special application that the country needs to turn it around? So these are the things that we have to look at to be able to come to that point to say, indeed, we need a special application. What is the application? And why do we need it? In what area? In what section? So, I would like to hear from you. Those in the comment section. Mr. Righteous Man, if you're hearing me, opportunity was not there for me to take on you on that day. But I think this is the best way for us to have this discussion, to deliberate on this special application, because according to it's out there in the public, so it's not something one is making up. You've traveled around the world. You've gone to Cameroon. There's lights, there's electricity. You were there for 2-3 months, and when you came back, you were looking fresh. What application did they use was applied in Cameroon, in Togo, that is not on ground in Nigeria? Was it imported from heaven? What application is being used in the Western world that we don't know or we are not aware of or we don't have knowledge of? What is that application? So when we make this argument or this claim, At times we forget that these things are on record. And as such, it can be called up at any time for us to explain or defend what we are trying to say, what message we are trying to pass across. If we just want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. But if the goal, the focus is turning the country around, then that is beyond conversation. So I ask again, as the question is shown on the screen there, what special application is required? Why would Nigeria need a special application? What about the existing application? I have mentioned few. If you know some, let me know. I have mentioned few. Have we exhausted all applications on ground? But we've not. And as such, we want a special application, a miracle from up. I am going to say it and I'm going to say it again. Posterity, as most of us know, will judge us in time to come. Posterity will what? Will judge us. What is the aim? What is the goal? Every day, the country keeps going down. And there's one application I keep pushing for that we've not even attempted. Section 68 and 110 of the Constitution. And some claim that the Constitution is a fraud. Even lawyers claim, some lawyers claim that the Constitution is a fraud. Fair enough. If that is the case, how do we get ourselves a new constitution? Fine, we've condemned it. We've agreed that it's a fraud. For the purpose of argument, let's agree it's a fraud. And when fraud is identified, what happens? People try to fix the fraud or correct it. It's not enough to say this is a fraud. I'll give you another example. Recently, I transferred money and the money was hanging in the air. So I kept doing the back and forth. And I said, listen, either you refund me back my money or you process it or I file a complaint. The next thing I got was, oh, your money will be refunded in 3 days' time. That is how it works. That is how it works. It's one thing to identify fraud. It's another thing to try to correct it. So if the Constitution is a fraud, for the purpose of argument, even though I don't agree with it, but if indeed it is a fraud, and we're finding a solution to it, how do we go about it? Only to say it's a fraud and we just leave it that way? So these are the things, questions we need to start asking one another. We have an opportunity here. Those of us who come on here, who sit on this platform or on other platform, it should not be for fame or for gain. It shouldn't be for fame or for gain. Nigeria is not something for us to see as a test run. It is not a test run country. It's real. So the question is, what is that special application? Yes, I don't know. We are live. Yes, we are live, and you are not getting the full comment on your phone. I don't know if that is because of your phone, but this is a live broadcast. Broadcast. I beg your pardon, Soji Adamo. This is a live broadcast, so I don't know why. Maybe you should turn it off and power it on back again. It is a live broadcast, and I believe you, as long as you can see me and hear me, it is a live broadcast. So in terms of the comment, you're not getting the full comment on your phone. I don't know if it's that definitely is not from my end or our end. That should be your phone. Like I said, I suggest you reboot it, turn it off, and turn it on back again. That will, maybe it's going to fix the problem. So again, I repeat, I ask the question: what is that application? Good evening, good evening to you, Blessing Chukuka. Thanks for joining into this program and for being part of this program. I am going to highlight the question again. Try to recap from the very beginning. Nigeria, the peculiar case. Why is Nigeria a peculiar case? The thumbnail that you see, the thumbnail is the sons of Anakims. These are literal giants, but they were still defeated. So why do we think that we require a special application to defeat the power that be? Edobo, thanks for joining. Sojim, you're welcome. Edoba, you were the only commenter at this point. I don't know what you meant by that. What you mean by that? I am the only one on the broadcast for now. I'm running the broad, but people who wants to join, you're free to join. You're welcome to be part of the broadcast if you want to. But I'm gonna pose the question again. The question is, what special application is required? This broadcast is as a result of a claim made by one of our panelists that Nigeria required a very special application for it to function the way it's supposed to function. So this prompted these questions, and we're going to stay within the questions. If there is no answer to this question, then we'll leave it as it is. What special application is required? Why would Nigeria need a special application? What about the existing applications that we have? What about the existing applications for us to look at it? So, according to, that's why Soji could not see other comments, okay? Good evening to you too, Edoba. You're welcome. I welcome every one of you. And again, I am going to highlight the question based on the claim made that the country requires a special application to get to where it is or to function properly. So why is that? Why a special application? How about the existing applications that we have? Have we exhausted all the applications? If yes, let me know. If no, then what is that special application that we need? I have mentioned few. Democracy is an application. Whether it's working or not, it's an application. Coup is an application. War is some are good, some are bad. But I'm just mentioning these applications. Succession is an application. So, what is that special application that we need? What is that special application that we need? Mr. Bless Soji, somebody is making a asking you, are you watching from your YouTube account or a search engine? Because the comments are live. So maybe you are watching from a search engine. I think you should go straight to YouTube and you will see the comment. I think so. That if you watch direct from YouTube, you will see the comment live. So those of you in the comment section, can you please weigh in on these questions, please? I'm going to put it again. Thanks for joining in again. The questions are: one, what special application is required given that Nigeria, or given that the claim is that Nigeria is a peculiar case as such, it requires a very special application for it to function the way it should. So, I await answers to this. So the thanks and blessing double corrected presumption. So Soji blessing, I've thanked you. Soji thanks blessing. So I'm waiting for you to tell me what is. I hope righteous man will join this conversation because he made this claim. For him to clarify exactly what his message is trying to pass on. Remember, he's a righteous man. And one application, or one of the applications I highlighted, is prayer. And we've been praying in the country. I am not in the position to say whether the prayers are answered or not. God is in the position. God is the one that answers prayer, not me. So I am not in the position in that regard to say that as well. So thank you very much. Adegunwa, the Anakim in this sense are the Nas to me. The Nas are the one holding us back. They fail to amend the constitution. They will also fail to pass a bill for regional government of any president. The Anakim in this sense are the NAS, the National Assembly to me. Okay, I get your point now. The National Assembly are the one holding us back. They failed to amend the constitution. Now, Adegunwaniyi, thank you for this. I agree with you 100% that the Anakims are what? The NAS is part of the Anakim, sons of the Anakims, major, they rank number one. But they are not the one holding us back. It only appears that they are the one holding us back. The truth of the matter is, we are the one holding ourselves back. Why? Section 68 and Section 110 makes us to understand how we can overcome them. They are our representative. They work for the citizen. So when we apply this application, we put it into action, we start to invoke it, then we will see that change. This is what I have always been campaigning about. Why some people come out to condemn the Constitution? I've said it repeatedly. The seat of corruption, the temple of corruption, is the National Assembly. And until we address it, we will be going in circles. That is an application we've not even touched. And yet, some individuals claiming that the country required a very special application. Sorry, you said Adegunwan, you said if. What do you mean by if? Could you please clarify that, please? I will appreciate that. Electricity, I think this is a serious question. I tend to agree with righteous man's submission in this case. If you see, agreement and disagreement are part of this, our discussion. If you agree with him in his submission, what is then that special, very special application that is required? It is your right to agree. I disagree. But you now need to provide us, me, and the viewers, what is that very special application? Because we need an application. I argue that the existing applications are there for us to use, are good. But if you are agreeing with him that we require, or the country required, a very special application for it to function, then what is that application? So that we move and we run with it, we work with that application. So please, Soji Adamo, you need to give us that application, please. It's very important. We have not been channeling our energy to the exact quarters right. How can we recall every people to see this, that president isn't the clog in the wheel of progress? I don't understand what you mean. How can we recall every people? The focus is on the National Assembly. The constitutions highlight how we can recall, the recalling process. And given that the Constitution highlights the recalling process, Section 68 and Section 110, how is it not possible for us to recall? Let's start with 1. Because the recall process is power to the people. There is no disagreement to that. We have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. You're right. The NAS are the anarchists on the top of the list, not the president. The president is not the top of the list. It is the National Assembly, both the upper and the lower chamber. They are the one that we are dealing with. Even for those who are agitating for secession, they still have to go through that process. That has to be enshrined into the Constitution. So we need to start to do the right thing so that we get to where we're going. So if you don't agree, however, that means to say we have arrived or are content with the status quo. No, come on, Soji. Be realistic here. No Nigerian is content with the status quo. Like I said, disagreement is welcome. But what is the solution? What is that? Listen, give us that special required application. Give me that special application. Forget us now. I am asking because I took it personal. So give me that special application. Then I will run with it. We have not arrived, nor are we content with the present status quo. That is incorrect. Ask every Nigerian, at home and abroad. We are not content with the present status quo. So if you can give me that since you are agreeing with a righteous man, what is that very special application that is not in existence in the whole world, not just Nigeria. But the nays, I have come to terms that only the nays can threaten the president with impeachment on doing the right thing. Also, only the nays can ensure a progress, hence we need to tackle them. But that is what I've been campaigning about. But the nays cannot do anything if you and I don't act. They won't do anything. Remember, they and the executive, they are what? They are in this romance of corruption. They ain't gonna do anything. The responsibility now lies with you and I to start to hold them accountable. And until such time, we will be running in circles. But I believe we will get there soon. Sooner than expected. So many people think president is the key to unlock our sources, but I say no. If we need resolution of resources control, we decide it. Definitely, that is 100% true. I agree with you. I agree with you. But there is an argument right now. Mr. Adegunwani, maybe let me put the question to you, because Soji Adamu agrees with the submission of righteous man, which is okay. But what I need them, on those who agree with his submission, is to provide that special application that is required. Give it to me. And why is Nigeria a peculiar case? How are we different from other nations who have existed with similar problem and overcame this problem, overcame the giants? The freedom that people are enjoying in the Western world today did not just come to be as it is today. So I argue that the existing applications, if we filter it, we will get it right. We will get one particular one and we apply it. But some individuals disagree with it. Therefore, the question I am asking, or the request I am making, in the spirit of fairness, dialogue, democracy, and I've forgotten the last one, provide me with that a very special application, because he has traveled wide. According to him, it's on record. So you must be able to provide me with that special application so that I can take it to the people. I can bring it back here and say, here is the application. Let's work with this. Let's run with this, and we will get it right. So it is not just to make a claim. You need to provide that application. I believe the fear of resource control is why the northern senators are now anti-Akpabio today. That is neither here or there for me. Okay, whether the north is anti-Akpabio or the south is anti-Akpabio, the focus is on the nays. The people needs, you and I needs to take control back of the country. And the only way, this is my submission. I have made this submission, I believe it's now 7 years ago now. And we are still back at the same place. Even session, I keep telling them that the right way to go about it, go to your legislators. Take your case to them, particularly those in the eastern area, the Biafran agitators. their governors, their legislators are not in support of this. And as long as they are not on board with this, it will be difficult for them to achieve it. But if they want to achieve it, that is another application I'm just highlighting. Then they all should now start to apply section 68 and 11. This section 68 and 110 is applicable, or it can be applied in every situation, good or bad. But you have to start by what? By going to them. So where do we go from here? So Jadamu, I am still waiting for that special application that we require. I sat down, I challenged him on it on that day before I came on air, before I'm coming on air here, to make it an open discussion on that topic, on this topic alone. And we're not going to deviate from it. I need either Soji Adamo or the righteous man or any other person that agreed with his submission that the country required a very special application. Give me this application. It shouldn't take long to provide it. We've been having this discussion for many years now. In fact, let's just say in light of the 2023 presidential election, we've been having this discussion constantly. Most weekends, days. So there has to be an application somewhere. Its stage name is what? Righteous man. James chapter 5 verse 16, I believe. The fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So if we go by stage name, prayer is an application. Is it suggesting that that application is now null and void? It doesn't work again. As such, we now require a very special application. Then it has to change the stage name to something else too. Because he raised the question that half-truth is not the truth. So is his claim half-truth? I can attack him because the rules here is to be respectful and not to attacking the person, no personal attack. But he needs to clarify his positions because thousands of people have heard that and they will run with it. It will stick in their hand and say, oh, Nigeria need a special application for it to function. So let's start to do the search now. Provide us that application, please. Prayers without work is dead. Face reality theory. 100% agreed, Mary Peace. With prayer, there has to be what? 99% of the time, there's a corresponding action. There is corresponding action, not just prayer. In fact, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 4 or 6, if I'm correct, God says that he that cometh to me must come what? Believe that he's a rewarder of they that diligently seek him. So there's a seeking part there. So Jadam, I will try to make my own submission defending my claim. Please, you are welcome. That is the purpose of this program. Make your submission and defend. So let the record reflect that Soji Adamu have changed his position. I stand to be corrected by not agreeing with the submission of righteous man. Now wants to make his own submission, defending his claim. First and foremost, can you, if you don't mind, Soji Adamu, can you type in your claim, please? Is either you are agreeing to the claim of righteous man, or is it a different claim entirely? We're in the court now. So, easy. Are you agreeing or going by the claim made by a righteous man? or it is a different claim entirely that you want to submit, please. I would really appreciate that. Seeking a reward, the psychology of a reward in itself is an issue. It suggests there's a terminal point in a struggle, which is subjective. Okay, thank you for that, Tima Jack. If you can maintain this position, I'll be very glad for that. So, what do you mean by seeking a reward? There's a question mark there. Please. Thank you very much. Psychic is where the special application needs serious alert and adjustment. Nigeria with over 500 ethnicity and language. Okay, psychic is where the special application needs. What is the special application? That is, it doesn't matter whether it's psychic, which is the mind. What is that special application? Please. I would greatly appreciate. I came here for answers. This broadcast is being run for answers so that we can run with it. Time is not on our side. So give me that special application, please. I agree with Righteous Man as his submission only suggests that Nigeria as it is not working. Okay? You agree with him that it needs... we are just beating around the bush. You agree with him. What is that very special application? Please. That is what I need you to provide for us. What is it? Just name it and let those of us now, let's deliberate on it. Dialogue, democracy. That is what we're practicing. What is that special application? Righteous Man did not name it. He just said it requires a very special application. So if you are applying for a job, they state the requirement. The requirement are stated. This is what we need. This is what essential requirement, compulsory requirement, non-compulsory requirement, not essential requirement. They state everything. Can you please state that requirement, please? Please do send the link so we can really go at it and challenge the objective. I will do that with time. You talk about seeking with regards to your book of Hebrews code. Are you submitting that one seeks God while working towards an objective? My question is then, who is rewarding the effort? Now, that book says that he that cometh to me must believe that is a great rewarder of those who seek him. If we seek God, it's not necessarily in terms of reward. I seek God, but not necessarily for reward, in that he will take care of my need. Not necessarily for reward, but it is recorded that God rewards those who diligently seek him. I hope I've been able to answer that question. If I'm not, let me know. Then I'll take it again for you. Please, even the Bible itself was righteousness reality. Only which men have lost dominion. Okay, thank you for that. Hi, bro. The solution is simple: wipe out most of the leaders' thieves. All past Nigerian presidents and governors should be arrested. Now, thank you for that, Ivory. I just want to use to highlight it. Not that I totally agree with. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I want to use this to challenge Adamo. You can see what Ivory said. Ivory just highlighted an application in solving the problem. So if you will kindly highlight an application for us, for me in particular. See, that is one application. I may not agree with it entirely because of maybe it has that element of death and violence. That is me personally. Even though I know that these our leaders, some of them, we need to get rid of some of them because they are our problem. But he just, for the purpose of this broadcast, he just highlighted an application. So If you or righteous man or anyone who agree with righteous man's submission can highlight, give us that very special application that is not in existence or that we've not discussed before or not highlighted in the constitution or never practiced anywhere in the world. Nigeria needs serious cleansing. To be honest, there must be bloodshed. I hope that is not the case. We hope not. That should not be the case. We should not come to that point. And I believe that if we apply this application, if we use this application in section 68 and 110, we will avoid this bloodshed in every ramification. Even those who are agitating for secession, if they use section 68, sometimes we take section 68 and 110 just for one particular thing. It's for everything. You are agitating, you want your own Yoruba nation, your own Igbo nation, Biafra nation, this and that, to your legislators. If we follow this thing, follow procedures. And that is how amendment comes into it. Those who are arguing that the constitution is a fraud, let them go write their own constitution. Write a new one and give it to us so that we can follow it. Write a new one so we can follow it. Timaje, taking care of your need is a reward in itself. What are the requirements for diligence in the context of seeking God? The requirement for diligence is doing His commandments. That diligently seek me consistently. I think Ecclesiastes chapter 12, 11 or 11, 12. He highlighted the conclusion of everything. Fear God and keep what? Keep His commandment. For this is the whole duty what? Of a man. As what? Everything will be brought into what? Into judgment. The requirement of diligence or for diligence is highlighted there. Let's be truthful and maintain it. Let's live right. Let's be honest with one another. Those are the requirements for diligence in seeking God. I must not think evil towards you or think bad towards you. I must not plant evil against you. I must not join the crowd because they are the crowd, even when I know that the crowd are wrong. And we can go on and on and on and on. Madipi said, run them down. No justice in Nigeria can't hold. Run them down. No justice in Nigeria can't hold the truth cause. Okay. Life people will take their own destiny in their hands. Who are you people? I don't know what's Madipi. I don't know what you meant by that. Okay. Electricity link, please. Soji wants you to send the link. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll send the link. Let me just copy. Apologies for that, please. I get caught up in Control V. I've just posted the link to you and you have it. So I think I missed one thing there. So I'll have to go back to the comment. I just posted the link. It's the I'll go back to the last comments. It's a reward itself. People there, it's a link, please. Yeah, thank you very much. So I go to the eyebrow comment. The power of change lies with the people. If Nigerians don't act, Tinubu will be worse than Buhari. It is. I mean, it is obvious. He's already displaying it. With due respect to him as the president of Nigeria, that fuel subsidy issue, it's a big problem, and I don't know how we're going to recover from that removal of the fuel subsidy. I think last week, the national grid collapsed twice in a space of 6 hours, and yet we are still where we are. I have posted the link for Soji who wants to join, and please You're welcome on board. This is going to be one of my shortest broadcasts. I don't think I want to go beyond 2 hours in this broadcast. I came here for someone to provide me that special requirement, but none has been provided so far. So click on the link if you want to come on the platform, and remember the rules. You must have your camera on, or else you will not be allowed on the platform. No personal attack, no insult, and we must respect. We can make our point and stand our ground without personal attack or insult, and the purpose is also to take comments. So I am still waiting for someone to come up with that special requirements until we stop to deceive ourselves. I don't know if you watch the conversation, the Q&A section between Dr. Chidi and Lexi, and I stated earlier that this is a position we should start to take with each other. Okay, and start making exceptions. Yes, we're going to respect those who are older than us as required, but nevertheless, we need to stand on the path of the truth, because in worry they say over respect 90 kilos, 90 warriors. Over respect 90 worry some of us. So I will respect you, but applying that over respect ain't gonna take me or you anywhere. Yes, the power to change lies with the people, you and I. In everything we want to do to turn that country around, I state this for the record. You can see it as a prophecy or see it anything. We must go to Section 68 and those agitating for what? For secession, for their own nation, Yoruba nation, Biafra nation. Go to your legislators. Your legislators are the one holding you back. Not Tinubu, not Buhari. Your legislators are the one holding you back. And as long as you don't address that issue, then forget it. Kiss it goodbye. AY, thanks for joining.
Hey, my
chairman.
How is it going, man?
Well, not too bad. This is where we find ourselves today. Well, I'm looking for a solution. I'm here for a solution. They say Nigeria is a peculiar case, so it requires a very special application. And so I'm looking for that application because I need to run with that application. I need to run. Maybe you have the secret application to solve for me to run with. I will really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it if you can. But before I come to you, let me just highlight some comments here. Leave people who take their own destiny in their own hands. When you say Oduduwa and Biafra, I'm not holding them back. I'm just telling you, Madi Peace, the channel to follow. None of your legislators have come out to say, oh, we want to do Duas-Keste, we want Biafra. None of them. I'm on your side here. I'm on their side. People think I'm against. No, it's an application. We will apply anything applicable. If it works, fine. If it works, fine. So those are noble values. So this now about morality. Morality is about life. I mean, we have to let them be. They are fighting for their little right. Okay, all right. I don't. People don't understand. With due respect, you never told us what dialect you speak. You take style, Madra, that question. What has my dialect got to do with what is going on? These people will not kill somebody. Why?
T-Magic said the solution is the Section 68. End of discussion. Oh, this guy.
But where are the people, the terrorists and secret cultists and religious madness and everything? Anyway, somebody is giving you a shout out. The solution is in Section 68. Yeah. End of discussion.
Now my guy be that. Only say they fire me every time. T-Magic.
Looking for solution. Go back to those who are in dungeon first. Okay, of course, that is part of the solution. Those who are prisoners of conscience. Okay, I mean, I believe we all are prisoners. Anyway, do you have solution to this problem? That special solution, that special, very special application. I beg your pardon. I'm quoting it right. So the floor is yours. Say why.
Um, are you referring to solution of Nigeria problem?
No, what I'm saying is on the 16th there was a broadcast where Dr. Chidi was there, but after he left, first of all, I highlighted the conversation between Dr. Chidi and Mr. Lexi, and I applauded Dr. Chidi's position in that regard. I spoke to Dr. Rudolph about it earlier before this broadcast, that if we all can start to take this position and speak the truth to ourselves and take exception to people who come and or applauding bad behavior or whatever it is, then I think we will go far. But in the course of the broadcast, Righteous Man claimed that he's traveled Cameroon and some places. But in the case of Nigeria, it can't be compared to any other country. Nigerian solution requires a very special application. So I'm looking for that special application.
Luckily, I was on that session when Mr. Leslie tried to come with their conspiracy theories. What I mean, Professor Chidi, I mean, knowing who he is, he was trying to come with fact and explain to everybody what is really going on. If you are looking for the truth, I think you always find the truth at some point. What Mr. Leslie did, I was a bit very disappointed that day, not with Mr. Chidi, with those members that come on that platform and propagate some theories, conspiracy that are not really existing. I mean, when you want to make allegation or make a categorical statement, you should try to come with fact. That was what Professor Chidi did that very day. I was expecting some of them that usually come on the platform to come live and give us an alternative fact. Don't just come and just make statement. That was why Professor Chidi was a bit pissed with Mr. Leslie, because first of all, if you ask Mr. Leslie, probably in the past 5 years he has been to that region. Professor Chidi, this is a man that is on ground, that know what is going on. He said to them that very day, hey, when I'm out of America right now, I'm going back to the East. He gave them evidence that members of my family have been killed, up to 5, not 1, not 2, not up to 5 and more. People still decide to come with their theory. I think that's why he was really pissed with them. The part of this solution for me to actually get the solution to some of these issues, the leader, especially when I mean the leader here, the president, needs to have very good intention, needs to be deliberate in trying to resolve the issues. What I mean is, when you look at the whole regions, right, you can look for people that are open-minded, people that can give you advice, people that know what is really going on, that can provide solutions. You know, like you have crisis in the Southeast. I mean, look at someone like Professor Chidi is telling you that since 1990, he has been following up the happening, the killings, what is going on. So no wonder Professor Soludo, he was the head of one of his team like that we are like discussing about the security, right? What is wrong in getting people like Chidi and his likes, get them closer and say, hey, let's have discussion on this issue. Look for people that are honest, that will tell you the hard truth. Not people that will praise you, that will tell you, that will be loyal to you. People that will sit down with you and say, Mr. President, this is the problem. When we take these steps, we will resolve these issues. Because that's the only way. When you go to pick a man from Oyo State to come and resolve issue in Southeast, you're gonna run into more problem. The people from the Southeast must be there, must be on that desk to have this discussion. You want to resolve problem in Borno State, people from that region, there are people that really know the details, what is going on. Get them involved, because the president, again, needs to be deliberate. If you really want peace, really want to resolve issue in all this in Nigeria, right? So that's one thing I see that I mean, let's start from there, because even the development we're thinking of, oh, I want to build this, I want to do this. To be honest, you need to look for peace first. Peace is very important. You looking for peace, you building the security, you looking for peace, try to resolve issue across the region, across the country, get everybody together. The traditional leaders, they have a lot of strength in some regions. The religious leaders, the political leaders, our elders, even like former president, people that have been that in power in those regions, try to get their input, try to sit them down and say, hey, we have an issue. How do we resolve this? You know, it's all about the country. If the country work, it's going to work for everyone. But otherwise, we're going to be in deep mess. Like, nothing is going to happen. That's why I usually say this, right? Nigeria, we don't need an Hausa president. We don't need the Yoruba president. We don't need an Igbo president. We don't need any tribal president. We need a Nigeria president. Somebody that will be genuinely like see himself as in Nigeria, not as a Yoruba man or as an Hausa man or as an Igbo man. We need Nigeria president that we heads on start to look for genuine way to resolve issues, genuine way to carry people along. You know, in doing this, people will not be see you support a particular region. You know, try your best. You will not be perfect. People will always criticize. Try your very best. You know, that's why every time when it comes to that, I keep giving credit to Obasanjo. I mean, in terms of trying to unite the country, I think he was a bit deliberate. He made some serious mistake himself, but I think we can do better. You know, we can do better. We have people, we have resources across the country. Seek advice. You know, so we see hopefully that will resolve the issue, because right now it seems nothing is really happening, man. To be honest, I'm not
Yeah,
convinced.
thank you very much. Owen.
Yeah,
Sorry. You see, in the context of this discussion, okay, yes, those you've mentioned are applications we can apply, the leaders guiding them together, the application we can apply to get the country going, okay. But in the context of this discussion, okay, we need to run with something, okay. We need to run with something to help to change the narrative. If you see the thumbnail, I don't know if you saw the thumbnail of this broadcast. It shows Anakims, which is the politicians, and the people. I mean, Nigerians as helpless. We are not helpless. I am using a narrative from the scripture, from the Bible, where even the giants were overcome,
mhm,
even though they are giants.
mhm,
You just need belief. So, and that is why I keep saying we have to change this narrative that we are powerless. The people are powerless. The people are not powerless.
mhm.
I, everything you mention to me, it's okay. But I still stand on the ground that to change that narrative in that country lies in your hand lies in my hand, in the hands of the people. Because these leaders you've mentioned so far, if we go back history, they are part of the problem of this country, of Nigeria. Whether Obasanjo or Buhari or any one of them, they are part of it. And yes, we need a leader that is a Nigerian, meaning the leader that loves the country and loves the people, regardless of where he is coming from. And I keep saying, if we have three things functioning in that country, in fact, one thing, don't let me go to three. One thing functioning in that country, which is electricity. Nobody will give a who's whether that leader is from Niger. Nobody will give a who's. Last week, the national grid went down twice, 6 hours.
Mhm.
That means the entire nation, if I am correct, went into darkness, or the majority part of the nation went into darkness twice.
Yeah. So that's a good point, right? You see, like yesterday we had discussion around this. You see, the president. I mean, nobody say don't go to UN. Nobody say don't go to where you any international conference organization you want to align with, you want to work with. But as a new president, if you ask me, from what I observed so far, it seems the government they don't have a plan. It seems they just do things like, let's just keep going. You can't do that. Even as an individual, you need to have a plan. You should need to know where you're going, man. It's just like you are in a you are going with a particular career. You need to have a plan. You need to know. Like even if you want to travel from here to Lagos, you need to have a plan. So the government, the current government, it appears to me they don't have a plan. The plan is very important. Could have short-term plan, long-term plan. What are you trying to achieve? You should define a clear goal. On the issue of jumping from one country to another, looking for investors, for example, we don't. I mean, this can be done simultaneously, but the main focus should be on the country. Yesterday, I made a mention Nigeria somehow. The leaders, they don't only fail Nigeria, they actually fail Africa.
Yep.
Because if you look, most of Africa countries, they're looking up to Nigeria. Nigeria are supposed to be the United States of Africa. Like countries are supposed to be strongly, other nationals in Africa looking for how to come to Nigeria, how to visit, how to come and live in Nigeria. But we cannot even take care of ourselves. Like one important thing you just said is the electricity. I tend to feel that these people, I think they understand that when you give Nigeria electricity, a lot of things will happen because Nigeria are quite industrious. They will try to take care of themselves. They will try to do things. What is wrong is the president, first of all, have a focus on electricity, focus on the manufacturing. What you need to ban within next year, no import into Nigeria of some goods. Get them off the list. Make sure you produce them. Agriculture, same thing. Focus on security. Our refinery should be another top priority. Revive the whole refinery. If you need to start building new refineries, start one, just one. When you have one refinery, have a plan. Dangote open up his refinery. Boa open up his refinery in Akwa Ibom. Then we'll have sufficient refinery that can produce the fuel we can consume and we can take out of the country. So they need to think along this line because the way now you moving around, you looking for investors. These investors, they will not tell you they are not coming, but they will tell, oh, don't worry, we have it. Investors, they are not coming to give you money. They are capitalists. They will look at what will I gain? I will come and invest in the country. What will I gain? So the question is, build your home first. Let people see. Oh, it seems they have It seems they have a very bright future in that country. Oh, I think I can tap into manufacturing. Because right now, only electricity will discourage people from coming to invest in Nigeria. Because look at a company like Global. If they tell you the cost of running diesel engine, it's a lot of money. It's billions of. If sometime I have worked with Globacom before, I usually say this, right? Their tariff, the charges they charge in Nigeria is actually very small. They just want to be generous because they spend a lot of money, you know. So open up the country. The electricity is one major thing that will drive economy. You know, if you need to go into alternative source of power generation, do that while we still have the working with hydro. You can go into look for a way if it's possible to build a nuclear power plant. They are not rocket science. They are things that you can plan for them in the next 5 years and start achieving this stuff. You know, now for Nigeria to be a real industrialized country, you can't discuss that without electricity. Yesterday, people were discussing about the electric cars. I was telling them, why are you guys even discussing electric car? How are you going to charge it? How are you going to charge this? You don't even have electricity, you are discussing electric cars. Of course, it's supposed to be a good thing, but electricity, everything will move around electricity. Currently, we don't have electricity. The fuel, the normal petroleum, the common man, a barber was using to turn on his engine and work. They can't even do that now. Nobody is even thinking of that, except if a barber will charge you for 2,000 naira just to cut your hair. The hair you usually cut for like 200, 100 naira. So we need to look at this issue because we're looking at the bigger, even the small issues. People cannot do that. Somebody that is producing, that has bakery, that is producing bread, is spending more money on diesel. Why we bread not get to up to 1,000 naira? So these are really like pertinent issue we need to really look at and try to be genuine about them. Have discussion with the people. They need to be very, very genuine. Let people see your efforts, see what you're doing. The president should make sure he just elected new ministers, right? How are you checking their performance? They should
Sorry for interjecting. It will be difficult for the president to check their performance because, mind you, is under a very serious scrutiny at home and abroad. There's a lot of things surrounding him. Jagun, welcome to the show. We are discussing the purpose. I don't know if you've been following.
I'm very much up to date.
Oh, okay. So you've been following it from the back screen, and the deliberation is around these 3 questions that has been highlighted because I was briefly on the show on the 16th, and I went back. I watched it again some parts and reflect, and I felt I need to bring this to the light. Why we think Nigeria is a peculiar case, different from any other country that have existed on planet Earth. Particularly the claim made by Righteous Man that we need a very special application to jumpstart the country. What special application is required? Why would Nigeria need a special application? What about the existing application? So since you've been the background, so I'll yield the floor to you to weigh into it, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminding statements being made. I read the thumbnail and my name was there as somebody who agreed with Righteous Man.
Yes, I had your name there. So I played the tape over again.
Yes. I saw that and it was good. It was good because I do agree with him. And I do have my own way of thinking where that's concerned. I don't know exactly what would be in Righteous Man's mind as to what he said. However, my own supposition may be convoluted somewhat, but I'll try to make it as succinct as I possibly can. Psyche was mentioned by Soji, and I tend to agree with that the psyche of Nigerians needs serious adjustment. We as a Black people globally, we can lie a lot. And what I mean by that is that whatever benefits us as individuals or personally, we tend to side with it, whether it's correct, whether it's right or not. And this is the thing I believe that is endemic in the Nigerian polity. There are many areas that we can seek as an application, but where I differ from you, Electricity, is that the application that you underline may be already with us. However, it's locked into one kind of safe that the application needed is to understand the digits to unlock that safe. And that is what my understanding is of Nigeria. That Nigeria, with all its potential, with all its intelligence, with all its energy, still hasn't got it right. And therefore, I think we must all land on the side of there's something critically wrong with the way we are doing things, and it needs to change. And I think in most cases, we'll all agree on that, but we have to understand kind of where it is that we are. My belief is that if there is a special application that comes in that works, Nigeria could be organized within 5 years. It could be done in 5 years. We could actually recoup our losses and be in a position globally where the power of Africa is established and cannot actually be torn down very easily. Right now in Africa, with all the things that are going on globally, if a nation that was somewhat arbitrary or somewhat against us as a people wanted to come in and take over, they can do it. As we always speak on this station, we don't have any security. We don't have any security that really has us equal to anyone outside of Africa in approaching a war, let's say, for argument's sake. We don't have it.
Jagun, you're frozen.
We're quite aware. Okay. I'm here.
Okay,
a call came to me and pushed me aside. What I'm saying is that we don't have power based on what we can observe. You know, there are many intellectuals that will speak up and maybe they get it right. There are many activists that would pop up and maybe they are right in what they are suggesting, but there's no groundswell that is giving the people power in real terms. So what happens is that people are very individualized and they're getting on with their little lives the best way they can with the polity that's going on around them that is almost fighting against them in moving forward. Now, Nigeria is a very difficult position. It's difficult to be a Nigerian. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're a Nigerian, you're going to be suffering some levels of psychological attack. And these things have to be identified. In our identification of these issues, we come to the point that, boy, as much as I have passion for Nigeria, as much as I want to do for my country and my nation, my people, there is such a behemoth that is against me, which would either leave me reticent, would leave me negative, would leave me giving up. Nigeria is in a position where time is of the essence. And I don't believe that we can normally be waving the flag of pride as to say that I'm a Nigerian. And
I will be back. I'm going on a meeting. I will be back.
I'm confident and strong about the way forward, because there are many hurdles thatched with barbed wire to scale in order for us to reach where we're going. So what I'm trying to put to you is that there is an application that is needed to change our psyche. Now, that may start as a mustard seed. It may start as a big tree. I don't quite know. But there is something missing in the way we are doing things. And I think that thing that is missing generally is truth and reality. Well, let me put it to you like this and see if you understand. I'm an Ondo man, born in Ondo State, grew up in Sapele, lodged in Lagos before coming to the UK. You understand? My memory for things in general are of yesteryear rather than yesterday. I have a clear memory of those times when I grew up between age 0 and 6. My memory is so clear. I lived through the Biafra War. I saw dead bodies when I was 3 years old, skirned around the place. I'm a Nigerian. No two ways about it, no matter my accent and where I am now. So my love is there in Nigeria. My love is with me as a Nigerian, for Nigerians, for Africans, for Black people globally. Now, given this paradigm, in coming to Europe and meeting my fellow Black people who were taken from us many moons ago, I used to be in conflict with Jamaicans and Caribbeans generally growing up in this country. As we came together and began to break bread and have an understanding of who it is that we are, I understand that my brothers have been taken from me 400 years ago, and I'm meeting them for the first time now. As AY said, how Nigeria is looked up to, or the belief, trust, and energies being put into the Nigerian atmosphere of leading us out of our global misery. Because when we speak about Nigeria, we speak about us as global people. People in the world, they know who we are. I put it to you that the constitution that you always underline has not worked till date. Whether it's been tried or not, it hasn't worked. So us looking at our politicians and looking at our what do you call it? Well, I just mentioned it, my goodness. Our constitution, looking at these two things that may seem like a part of each other, it has not worked. So therefore, what righteous man says in looking around him, being in Nigeria and feeling that, you know what, I don't even understand what's going to work in this country, because all the people I trust around me, all the people that I give credence to, they aren't able to do this job. Who is going to do it? How is it going to be done? We need something special. Now, when we say special application, one mustn't think that it's going to necessarily be out of this world, even though that may be what we're looking for. For all the praise and worship people, then they feel strongly that, man, it's God who, now only God can do this thing. You know, we who are, yes, we may be extremely godly as people, but maybe we're more practical in saying that God has given us everything. Let us do something now in order to emancipate ourselves and give ourselves freedom and dignity. This is the crux. This is where we are. We can't pretend it's not where we are. We can't pretend that things are working. So when somebody puts something forward that he may not have conclusive and a conclusive approach for, it doesn't mean that a special application, as you put it, is not needed, because it is. Because the potential suggests that we can turn things around. I would say in 5 years, in 10 years, we're in a strong position of leadership for our continent, for our people across the world. I'll land there and continue with you.
Thank you very much. I had to listen carefully because I needed to pick some certain things. You mentioned our psychic. Somebody mentioned it earlier, and the application is somewhere in a box that needs. So we need the code to unlock it, and We need a code. There's this program that I normally watch. That you need a code and to unlock the. I've forgotten that that program that I watch. But here's what we're seeing around. Like you said, everybody around seems to have failed. So we are now saying, okay, what is going to work? The question I will put to you is, what have we tried in respect to the existing applications that we have, that we've consistently tried in respect to the existing applications that we have, and has failed us consistently? We're sticking to one thing that, okay, for example, let me use an example of those agitating for secession. I don't know if you heard my argument there. I'll take Nnamdi Kanu as an example. Okay. According to Dr. Chidi, it is bad governance that made people to want to agitate for secession. That is 100% correct. But there is a procedure that we need to follow for us to achieve that. And that procedure is to have this clause in the Constitution, which is not there at all. That clause of secession is not there. Now,
not even a referendum.
A referendum, okay. So if we are to achieve that, we need to ensure that it is what is now enshrined in the Constitution. How do we achieve that? That is going through our legislative hands, our legislators who represent us, to say, you know what, we want to break away, but we want to do it in an official capacity. Has that process been followed, rather than resorting to a riot or to what Samuel Ekpa is doing, which is condemnable and depriving people of going to their store or having a sit down at home? Is that the right approach?
In answering your question as best I can, the likes of Biafra, I don't believe in. The likes of those who are agitating for secession, I don't necessarily believe in. However, this situation that we find ourselves in with Biafra and all kinds of different agitations in order to get away from Nigeria is to be noted clearly that it suggests that Nigeria is not working. It's not working. Consistently, I will put it to you like this, that before independence and a couple of years
okay, we lost Mr. Jagun again. Hopefully it will come back. I hope he comes back soon. I guess a call came in again to his phone. So for those of you in the comment section, I would like to thank you. Mr. Jagun said we need, the kind of is locked somewhere in a save. So we need to look for the code. I think I'm frozen too. So I don't know if you're hearing.
I think we were all out at a time. It's just come back.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. Are you hearing me, Mr. Jagun?
I can hear you clearly, but your picture is still.
Yeah, I can see that my picture is. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I hope it's not the power that be in Nigeria that now is after us.
Well, let me try quickly and land so we can move.
All right.
In terms of consistency, as you put it, I think you heard my disagreement with the Simon Ekpa, Nnamdi Kanu points of view. Where consistency has been born, in my understanding, in my reading, is our beginnings, where there were three main areas of development that was taking place: the West, the East, and the North. And there we saw that power was in the hands of the people through the system of regionalized government that we had. Since that time has been taken and we have a unitary position, a unitary government, power basically has been taken from the hands of the people. In my village, there we have everything that we need. It's a beautiful little village, and there's a big stream running beside us, big stream that can conduct all the electricity that we need across the zone of Ondo State that I come from. There is no electricity in my village, you understand, as such, apart from if you have money to have a generator. When I was there at 21, I could see all these things. I thought, Mum, why can't we do X, Y, and Z and W? Couldn't see the reason why not. My mum told me that if you did that, the government will come and take the thing down. And that just tells us that we as a people don't have power. If we can't organize for ourselves in our own small village, because somebody from outside will come and tell us that we can't do for ourselves, that would better ourselves, it tells you that we have no power. There's no point in speaking things that don't actually constitute anything tangible. It's all yourself and True Niger forefather. You would always say something like, yes, we have power as people, yes, and I agree with the sentiment, but I don't agree with the practicality. This power that you're speaking about that the people have, I've not seen it, bruv. I've not seen it. What I've seen is when people get the hell out of Nigeria, they blossom like a flower. They begin to be practical. They begin to make serious moves. They begin to climb up the echelons of success. Why can't this be done in Nigeria? I tell you why. Because the people have no power to do so. So again, I put it to you. What are you talking about where you say that the constitution that is divorced from the government, the people that are divorced from their own heritage, where is the power? What's the way forward?
We will not agree. We will never agree on that, because I strongly believe that the power is in the hands of the people. And I liked the last election. Like I said, unfortunately, the way it went is not the way most of us expected
would have liked. I think we expected it to be what it is, but we would have liked to see something different. Which again, let me put it to you again, because I don't think you began by saying we are not going to agree on it, because I seriously believe the power is in the hands of the people. The power in the hands of the people, democratically, they all went to vote. I would say, and you would say, in agreement, that they all, the majority of them voted for Peter Obi. Yet we've seen the outcome, which is, as I say, the power is not in the hands of the people. Let's agree on that.
No. I don't have to agree with you on that. No. Okay. I don't have to agree with you on that. The fact that things went the way it went does not mean that the power still do not belong to the people, because there is what we call a process. And the process is being challenged. And you see, this is what we have to. It's like I sat for an exam, I failed in that exam. And I'll say, as a result of the fact that I failed, that is the end of the road. I have the option to repeat. I have the option to repeat. I have the option to not to repeat and probably go do something else if I want to, but that does not necessarily mean that I don't possess that quality to achieve what I want to achieve. Now,
I'm afraid I agree again, even in your example, you see, your example is clear, but I disagree with the outcome that you said, because if you failed an exam several times, it is only until you pass that exam that the profession is with you. Without you passing the exam, I'm afraid you don't have any power in that profession that you might have been looking to be qualified for. Let's be honest. Let's not use flim-flam. That's flim-flam.
Listen, Jagun, I think, listen, if I failed an exam, maybe over time, then I take a step back and ask myself, is this the right path for me? I can change a cause. Is that correct? Can one change a cause?
Why not?
Fair enough. When I change a cause, it is possible that I will excel in that cause. Is that correct?
That's fair.
So that is the point I am trying to make. That does not mean may I finish? That does not mean.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Beg your pardon.
See, that does not mean I don't have the power, or I cannot achieve my potentials, or I don't have the potentials to achieve or to get to where I want to go. We've seen people who failed in a particular cause, and they say, you know what, this is not for me. And they change into another cause, and they excel in that cause. Will you agree with me on that?
I would agree that there is potential, but I won't say that the power is with us. It's not clear that the power is with us. It may be clear to you, and I can balance on your proposition that we, as a sovereign individual peoples, have power. I can support that. But in a nation that is going down fast, we don't have, as I am looking at it, we haven't shown power of the people in stopping the treacherous position that we're in. We're going backwards. We're going backwards. So whilst you're saying that we have power and do all this, we're going backwards. So within this, I want you, the onus is now on you to prove that the people actually have power, because I can't see it, bro. I can't see what you're seeing.
Okay, from where I am standing, okay.
Yes.
I am telling you, if you were on ground during the election, like I said, the outcome or what we expected is not what we're seeing. The masses came out to vote, and because they want a change. Now, there was this derailment in terms of INEC and whatever they did in respect to that. That clearly shows that the people have power. It doesn't mean that because we had this attempt and it failed, and I stand to be corrected, in Nigerian history, Nigerians have not come out to vote en masse as they did February 25th, 2023. Okay.
The numbers are suggesting differently.
The numbers are high. The numbers INEC is providing, it's saying differently. But the numbers that came out to vote are high. I can tell you from experience. The numbers are high. So that means the power belongs to the people. And this is going on. Now, we may have this doubt in the judicial system.
How does numbers going to vote tell me and you that the people have power? Given, I mean, I don't understand that. You're glossing over that. You gloss over it a bit quickly for me. I need the understanding. Yes, sir.
Jagun, let's agree on one thing. The outcome is not what we expected.
Of course, I agree. Oh no, not what we liked.
The outcome is not what we liked.
Yes.
Okay. But it does not take away the fact that the numbers that came to vote were high.
No.
Or voted for Peter Obi.
Okay, I agree.
Do we agree on that?
I agree. I agree with that. Good. But I say to you that does not suggest power in the hands of the people. That it suggests the exact opposite.
No. Okay. We will do this back and forth, and we will not get anywhere. But my submission is the power still in the hands of the people. If we continue in this movement, don't forget that during this court election, this court trial, I think you're frozen, Jagun. Are you frozen?
No, I'm here listening very well.
Sorry, you look frozen. The obedience were on all eyes on judiciary. What's his name? This lawyer, Dele Farotimi, claimed or stated that Peter Obi has been able to raise an army that are willing to lay their life. That is another argument on its own. Whether that is true or not is yet to be proven. But see, when they say power belongs to the people, government of the people, by the people, and what? And for the people. I've always made this my argument in respect to the section 68 and section 110, which we have not invoked. And when we start to invoke that section of the Constitution, then you will see how the power will now, there will be a change. You will see it coming to reality. Yes, all indicators tells us that the power does not belong to the people, but the indicators are actually wrong. And that is why in the thumbnail, you see that giant of image that thinks that it has power over every Nigerians, and it made Nigerians powerless. The thumbnail is significant. So we still have the power. We may not agree on that, or we will not agree on that, but everywhere in the world, even in countries that are worse than Nigeria, they still say the power still belongs to the people to change the situation of the country.
Okay.
I yield the floor to you.
Yeah. Let me agree with you, not to say the power belongs to the people, but to say the potential of power belongs to the people. On that little note, I would agree with you, because I want change in our nation, and I do believe that power belongs to the people. Now, to spearhead this power is what we have not seen. We've seen it, as I said, before we had our independence. We saw the potential of Nigeria before we had our independence. By the time we had our independence, 7 years into it, we broke into war, which is quite significant. We have to understand what is it that took us to war. And I would suggest to you, in 500 people, 500 different nationals, if you like, in one country, with all kinds of different languages and cultures, that is a mammoth task to govern. Now, in order to govern it, and the special application needed, these people need love, autonomy of who they are as a people, and the rights of the individual to make his way forward. Now, these things, I'm afraid, they've been taken away from us in those years. They've been taken away. We don't have the power to, you know, if the East wanted to develop itself, it could, but it can't, because there is a position against the East developing itself. If the East wanted to develop itself, it would have happened a long time ago. We can see, because where they go to, they develop. And when I say they don't necessarily develop all these claims that people have about, we developed your area, not that. I'm talking about the industry and the forward thinking that the people of the East have for themselves. However, within that, there's a paradigm, because whilst they may be doing well in Lagos, in Kaduna, in Kano, in Abia State or in Enugu, there are issues. You know, there are small enclaves that have development, but the rest have no development, because there's only so much energy.
Jagun, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, can you be very specific? What is causing them? Who is stopping them? What is stopping them not to develop? Can you hear him? We can't hear you.
Jagun, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry, AY. Can you tell me who them is?
So, yeah, but like, you just make a statement, right? You said there is more like they stopping them not to develop. They have the capacity to. What is stopping them? Who is stopping them not to develop?
Yes, I think that's a good question. And what I said was just an example of the way power is not specifically in our hands, and our psyche doesn't give us the truth enough to develop as a nation. I believe that the Igbos, let me speak about Igbos particularly. I believe that if the Igbos were given the certain infrastructure that the government should lay there for the rights of these people to move. If these small things, if a port was there, if there was transportation within their zone, if there was transportation linking their zone very well to other zones in Nigeria, the Igbos would just flourish in their home states. They'll flourish, and that kind of flourish will be an example to my growing up.
We need to deep into this. What type of transportation? What do you mean transportation?
I mean, just the road. I've been to the East. And as I've said, the East is completely different than anywhere else I've been to in Nigeria.
In terms of what?
In terms of infrastructure, it was a while ago. It wasn't last year or the year before. It was a good 10, 15 years ago that I was in the East.
Bro.
And what I saw...
I'm sorry to bag him, but AY, he did mention seaports.
Where's he gone?
What's your name? Olumide. I put it in backstage, okay? If you've been following this discussion, there's decorum, and you have to honor that decorum, okay? You come in when you're asked, you're allowed to come in to speak. We are not much here, so you have the whole time to ask your question. So I'm going to bring you back in. You can't interject, okay? Please, we try not to interject each other. We'll allow the discussion to flow. So I'm going to bring you back in. And if Jagun and AY are finished talking, then the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
So Jagun, I will actually challenge you on the statement you made, like, the East is completely different from the other side in terms of infrastructure.
No.
I would disagree with you. You see, the only state in Nigeria that is really developed in terms of infrastructure is actually Lagos, to be honest. Because Lagos, don't forget, Lagos was a former federal capital. So I think that is the advantage, they had, like getting their seaport, we can't hear you. Can you hear him? Is him
muting me? I keep being muted automatically.
Yeah, good.
I just tell you, I'll try and describe the small differences that I saw between the two areas of West, East, and even North to a large extent. You see, I never liked Lagos. It's a mess in my eyes. It stinks. Yeah, there are some enclaves that you can go to and think, oh, this is nice. But generally, it's a filthy, sticky, itchy place, as far as I'm concerned. Overcrowded, underdeveloped. When I go to Ibadan, Akure, Ilorin, you see, I can see that this is a town. Just by looking at it. I was in Onitsha, my brother. I wanted to cry for the people, honestly. I was looking at beautiful, well-dressed individuals immersed in mud. It was just mud. I was looking around this place that is beautiful because it's on the banks of the Niger. It's right there. The place is a horrid mess. I didn't recognize it as Nigeria. I can't lie to you. It looked like somewhere else. It looked to me like somewhere in the Congo.
Okay, Jagun, I'm going to interject you there. This is a question for every one of us, okay? But I'm going to, I'll start with Olumide first. Jagun highlighted the East. Are we saying, please, I need us to be objective in this issue, in the context of Nigeria? Where in the country is good at the moment? We have to speak truth to ourselves.
Absolutely.
We can't pick one place from the other. If we talk of transportation, rail connectivity, connection is the entire country. If we talk of electricity,
truly,
is the entire country. So when we pick on a state and say, oh, this state is this. No, I can pick on my own state and I can tell you my region is in a state of mess. So I want us to be objective where we are narrating, putting this narrative to people. Like I said, what people hear matters a lot. So we're speaking truth to ourselves. The floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to pick up from you are saying that I should speak up from where
say whatever you want to say. Don't worry about what I put on. You wanted to say something.
It's just a question, but we still have the initial question as to a special application that is needed in Nigeria to emancipate all of us.
So
let me put the question up here again.
Okay.
So that is the question. That is the question.
Following the caption there. So, but I was interjecting, trying to re-emphasize Jagun's position that AY asked him a question about. So AY, see, we keep saying that what is it that the Igbos, what is it that they have been denied? Jagun mentioned one, seaport. We all know the Igbos are very industrious. You understand? What is wrong with them having a seaport? Lagos has one seaport. There's one in Port Harcourt, but the Lagos one seems to be the only one that is really run to bring in goods from other parts of the world. And the Igbos are saying they want a seaport of their own. There's nothing wrong in the Igbos or the East having a seaport of their own or developing one. See, the problem alludes, now going to that caption, the problem alludes to the magic or whatever application we need. The truth of the matter is, I will cite an example of countries that have been properly run. The UK, the US, that we all have examples of. Australia, Canada. Nigeria calls itself a federal government, but we are not truly federal in nature. You understand? We're not really federal in nature. We need to go back. We need to go back to that point where we started from originally. Nigeria was on a path to becoming a true nation when we got our independence in the 60s and we started the regional government. Most of all these things, the current modern seaport that Lagos has was developed by the Awolowo regional government, even though they inherited it from the British. But the capacity that that we all allude to was developed by the Awolowo. When even the unitary government, the military took over from when they took over government and truncated the regional government, most of what they took over was achieved by Awolowo's own. I don't recollect what they took over in the north or in the eastern regional government, but we all know some of those landmark achievements they took over from the Awolowo Western government. Today, the House, Nigeria's High Commission in UK was done by Awolowo. The ports, so many things that the first television station and what have you. Fine, we are far too gone. We are not saying we want to go back to the regional government like it was. But what we're saying is that those things, that the way they did, the way they performed their duties, their responsibilities, you understand? The kind of independence they had to make their own laws, devolve it to the states. You understand? And let the states have those power. like what Jagun is saying, then that is when people will begin to feel that power truly belongs to the people. The way things are structured right now is not ideal. Where there are some popular economists, then I've forgotten his name, will say we're practicing trickle down economics. You understand? Even at the trickle down economics, I know where Ayo is coming from. These people still collect a lot of money that they share, but they don't account for it. You understand? Fine, we all know that there's corruption. You understand? And there's no guarantee that even when we practice this true federalism, there will still be corruption. Even in America, there's corruption, but the system allows for this to be dealt with. You understand? But we are saying that our fate is being decided. It's not our fate is not in our hands as the people. We can't elect our own leaders. We can decide if we want to have our own seaports. We can't decide if there's so many things in that constitution that you have to go back to the federal government. If the president says no, they will play politics with it. I mean, roads, for instance. Oh, this is the federal road. This is the state road. This is the local government road. If a state has a resource, if they have the resources to do the roads, why can't they do the road? To make life better for their people.
Let me ask you a question, Olumide.
Yes.
You agitating for a Yoruba nation. Would that be correct?
See, yes, I will tell you that I believe that the way Nigeria is currently constituted, we cannot do anything meaningful. Let me explain my position. We cannot do anything meaningful for our people. You understand? And the only way that we can truly do anything meaningful for our people to achieve their potential is for us as a nation to move out of that contraption called Nigeria. We are not saying Nigeria should break up. We are saying allow the Yoruba people go.
Okay. So this is, you see, I asked you this question in respect to your argument for the Biafra or the Igbo. So is a similar thing or the same thing why the Yorubas also want their own nation? Would that be correct?
Well, if like I said, if Nigeria cannot come around on a round table and allow all of us to sit down and fashion a document that will be agreeable to all of us, and not one created by a military decree and giving us at the dying minute that we are all now today just come to realize that this cannot work for us. If we cannot come and redo that paper, you understand, and we do that document that will be binding on all of us and allow us to achieve our potential, then the Yoruba, I believe that as a people, that we should then fashion our own destiny by creating our own sovereign state. Okay.
So, in a nutshell, what the Igbos are fighting for, the Yorubas also are fighting. In a nutshell,
if it is the same thing that the Biafran people are fighting for, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay. So what I'm trying to point out is we are all in the same boat. No section of the country is different from the other. That is the point I'm trying to highlight, because the Ijos also will come up and they say they want an Ijo nation. Maybe some other people. And according to Dr. Chidi yesterday on the 16th, a lot of people have highlighted it, including Jagun and everybody, that it's as a result of the bad governance that we have that makes people to be agitating for secession. That is clear. But here is another question that I'm going to put to you and to everyone, particularly those of you have highlighted the potentials of those in the East and everything. We have 3 ports in Nigeria: the Lagos port, Warri port, and the one in Port Harcourt, if I am correct. 3 I know so far. And ports are usually built in the riverine where there's the riverine area, where there's a sea flow and everything. Has there been any time that region, that eastern region, come together, their government or governors, to say, you know what, we want to build a port, and the federal government stopped them?
They won't
I don't know if
allow
that's a
them.
fair. I don't know if that's a fair question, bro.
They won't even allow them.
Wait, no. Listen, don't say it's. Listen, if I am tired of Jagun, if I'm tired of you, I will go and do my own things. For example, I want to do my own things. Then
you're
it's up
speaking
to
of a normal scenario.
Jagun.
Nigeria is not a normal scenario. I believe that question, whilst I understand it, I think it's unfair. I don't think it's really looking to what Nigeria is. You know, I don't want to. I mentioned the East only as an example, not to go into what the machinations of the East. Just as an example, what
Jagun, hold on 1 second. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm using the East as an example. There are other people clamoring for their own nation, but I just picked the East.
Okay.
For example, for you to have a port in an area where there is no sea or water, you have to dredge. So that looks kind of impossible. I mean,
hard work.
But I totally agree that there should be seaport well spread around the country, not for ethnicity's sake, but for development purposes.
Absolutely.
Because it will not be easy to transport goods by road from Lagos to the east, where the ship can just directly go there and supply that area, maybe up to Port Harcourt will cover some certain region, East will cover some certain region, Warwick has a port, and Lagos. So if we have it spread around the country, it brings development, and it makes things easy for people to bring things into the country. But my question is this. Yes, okay, you know what? Let me change that question, because the argument is the federal government don't allow people to develop. Okay? Now, prior to his departure, he signed into law the electricity bill. I've had this discussion before. He signed into law the electricity bill.
Can I weigh in on? See, the situation now is that if you listen to the other side, like Horst to like me, and Jagun too, what we're saying is that we don't see a good federal. If you're copying a federal system of a law from countries where it has worked, we don't have to want to go cap in hand all the time before things are done for our people. If we can generate the wealth at our state level, or you understand, at our state level, or if all the states want to work together and they have that latitude to want to work together and not hindered by the law that has been created, why do we want to have to do that all the time? Look at where we got to. Look at how long it took us before they now signed electricity. I mean, I have not looked at the electricity new electoral bill. The one they signed into and passed into law. We don't even know if there's any hidden hindrance in there. Look at the electoral law where it got us. Now they went to court and look at the hindrance that it got us in. I mean, look at the hidden hindrance in there where the judges are saying that you don't even have to. You can't. It doesn't matter. The technology doesn't matter. You can't tell them how to do their stuff, which brings us back to square one. We want to practice true federalism. That's what we're saying. It is not our laws.
How do we practice this true federalism?
We need to come. There's no rigmaroling about this. We need to sit down together and fashion a constitution that we all agree and know to, so that at the end of the day, when there are arguments about it, we can then say, oh, but your representative was there when we were fashioning out that law. Let's make amendments. Let's do this. Let's do that. We don't want to go cap in hand all the time for something we know is our right.
Jagun, can you take it from where Olumide said we need to sit down? Okay, we're being positive here right now. Okay,
sure.
He said we need to sit down and draft something for ourselves. So this sitting down, I'll come to you. This sitting down, what format, what shape will it take?
Well, I think the example has already been laid where this sitting down is concerned. True federalism in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, because we do have big tribes, three big tribes, and then we have a tribe in the south, that is where the wealth, the majority wealth of our country comes from. I think consideration needs to be given to them in appreciating who they are bringing in within that federalism, within that federal understanding. So for the West now, Kwara, Kogi, Edo, and Delta, really, for my understanding, should be on the West. On the East, they would know how they're going to have their enclave. In the North, there will be at least 3 or 4 different enclaves up there, if we're being as honest as we possibly can, in order to approach true federalism for our people. With true federalism, then we can concentrate on what is at hand for us as areas of Nigeria.
My question is, following what Olumide said,
I'm following him.
The sitting down.
Yeah.
How do we approach this sitting down?
Because
like you rightly said,
the approach is one thing.
Like you rightly
I think
said.
Do you agree? What I think
time
what
is
asking Jagun is, do you agree that we need to rewrite a new constitution? We need to draft something new that is agreeable to all of us. I think that's what
he's talking about. That's what's been spoken about. Do we need a new constitution that is agreeable to everybody? Is the first thing, and I think
we are agreeing on principles.
Yes. Okay. Good.
We need a new constitution. If that is our problem,
yes.
How do we approach?
I'm saying to you that new constitution would be agreed upon. That there would be federalism and there will be regional government, regional autonomy. In that regional autonomy, the people in that region are now able, free, confident to pursue the thing that's right in front of them. If you're pursuing the thing that's right in front of you, then you are moving closer to development that you need as a region and we need as a nation.
Okay, I agree with you, Jagun. Anyway, I'll come to you. There's something I'm trying to drag out of Jagun and Olumide. This sitting down, according to Jagun, time is of essence, which I agree with you, 100%. This sitting down, what is the process? When should we start this sitting down? Excuse me.
As soon as the political elite in Nigeria realize that it is of the essence.
Jagun, do you agree with that?
Well, I think we're sitting down now. You know, we're trying to make an approach. Again, I must commend you, Electricity, for many of the discussions that I had on this platform. I think that you are the one moderator that is trying to get answers out of us. And this is what is needed. We need answers. We just can't be coming here talking all day, night, and spending 15 hours. It's useless. You know, what is more practicable is a 3-hour conversation where things can be stored and put into memory. And then when we have another discussion of 3 or 4 hours, then we're going inner into the thing, because none of us have the answer just to blurt out right now. But we are fashioning these answers. I'm hoping that we can come to some level of agreement where we ourselves from this platform have a piece of paper that is so energetic, so heavy, that we can place it in front of the government and say, this is our intention. This is what we want. We don't want this kind of government that just goes on with more and more lies. I listened very carefully today to Tinubu's UN submissions. And within it, with all the folly he was talking, as far as I can say, and I call it folly, even though there are things that he said that may be palatable to a lot of people, it still constitutes folly in my ears. He mentioned Niger, and he was talking about putting Niger back to democracy as per needed. And he didn't mention France once. These are the issues with the half-truths that are being told. Another underlining of Righteous Man, who spoke about half-truths. How can you mention Niger without mentioning France? If you're serious, you're not serious. He's not serious. So I've read some comments there about, oh, Tinubu did very well. He spoke very well, this, that. And I'm thinking, did you hear anything that he said that made any conscious sense to us as Nigerian people, to us as Africans, Nigeria should be leading the African world. And we have an idiot like Tinubu at the helm. It doesn't constitute going forward. I'm sorry, it just does not.
So I'm still going to push for my question, okay? I'll yield the floor to AY. I'm still going to... No, listen, I agree with you, Jagun, that yes, we cannot come and sit down every day with this and that. And we in diaspora need to put something in paper and even make a representation. Okay, so we're gonna go on that slide, but I will yield the floor to AY, and I will be off the screen for a minute, but I'll be back. AY, the floor is yours. But Jagun and Olumide, don't go anywhere, because we will talk about this coming together of those in diaspora, even where possible. I use the word where, because the citizens have a right to sue the federal government if need be. But we are not going to tread that path. But to start to make representation and make our for them to make our presence felt by them. Particularly, these representations will be directed to the legislative arm. I mean the NAIS, and so we'll take on that. So AY, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you again. So, I want to first of all comment on the issue of the ports. So in Nigeria currently, as it stands, I know we have a port in Lagos, in Port Harcourt. We have 3 ports in Lagos. I think 2 ports in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri, one port complex in Calabar, Cross River. So we have dry port in Kaduna. The thing is, I think the problem, what is going on in this Southeast, some people have argued it's a landlock. Some have argued it's not. Whatever it is, if we really want to develop, we have to be genuine. I think the Southeast, they need a port, even if it's dry port. If they are not, I'm not sure how, I mean, we had this argument the other day. I'm not sure how close they are to the sea. Even if they can get like a real port, they should give them a dry port. But when you look at the country generally, we just have problem we have hindrance in development. Even the rivers port we're talking about, the rivers, the Warri port, I don't think they are even functioning at full capacity. They are just there, really. I mean, the only port that are really functioning, if you look at it, is Lagos, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want us to restrict the problem to just Southeast, like, oh, maybe they don't want to give them a port. Because if I will give it just a national problem, in the sense that if we have port in the East, it's going to benefit the whole Nigeria, because people are going to be paying taxes. People are going to. So the thing is they are not intentional about developing the country. I see it this way, because even today, Nigeria was supposed to have cargo train that taking goods from east to west, from west to north, from north to south. This is how we're supposed to have cargo train. That's the only thing they do. But we don't have this kind of stuff, right? Because when you have that in a country of 200 million people, like they say, it's going to even reduce the traffic on our roads.
Absolutely, it will.
So
many benefits
that are destroying our road, the lifespan is going to be like longer, because these people, they don't think, they just do things haphazardly. So it's not working. That's why you see the country is not working for anyone. Because if you are a president that really want to develop Nigeria, you need to look at all the regions, all the area. What can we do here? What can we do that, you need to ask serious questions. How do you want to develop? How do you, we're supposed to have a blueprint we follow that will give us 25 years development. I can tell you, I don't think Nigeria will have anything like that.
Nothing like that.
Because if we have a blueprint, you will always return back to that blueprint. Oh, where are we? This is 2023. Where are we? 2025, we have a target. This is where we're going in 2030. We don't have anything like that. A country is too big to.
I think they have a blueprint. They always have a blueprint, but they never follow it.
Where they don't follow with the notice going on, even in the cities. The other thing, the problem of Nigeria should not be restricted to federal government alone. Even the state government, they're not helping. They're getting money. They're really doing less. Like somebody mentioned, Jagun mentioned when he went to Onitsha. This kind of issue, like in Onitsha, that's a state government issue. They need to tackle. Like, I mean, if you're talking about Onitsha, the market and the environment, these are state government issues, but they're not gonna do. What are they doing? Because they're collecting money from those markets, from those regions. And in summary, I think one other thing we need, I strongly believe, we need to restructure the country. The question now is how. That is what I don't have answer for. The people have that answer. The people need to sit down. We have a national COFAB report. Get that report. If we need to touch few things on it and try to implement, because that is kind of like the people COFAB. Now, the people need to determine how they want to restructure the country. The restructure they are talking here, like if they decide to say we want to create 6 region, good. If they decide to say we want to devolve power and give more power to the state, to the local government, good. But they must determine, the people must determine how they want this country to work. We cannot have an answer and dictate for the whole country like, oh, we want every state to control their resources. Oh, we want this. Mind you, even when you devolve power to the state, it might not stop the problem we are having. It might not stop the corruption, because even the state governors are corrupt, because they override the local government. They don't allow them to work. They don't allow them to see their allocation. This is a problem. All these problems, we need to look at them very deeply in such a way that we can have, because even the president, that's why you see they are so like key on power, because the power at the federal is just too much. If you have an honest president that is ready to devolve power, that would be a very good thing. The other thing is empower our institutions. Today we're discussing about the judiciary. If the judiciary, if they have their absolute independence, we will also have less problem, not the executive feeding them with some money. The legislative arm, they are not also completely independent. Now we created EFCC, we created ICPC, we have the police, we have the military, we have all of them are not independent. Even the CBN, they are not. They answer to the president. It is a big problem. So we need to, the INEC too, they are not independent, because they need to go look for money from the presidency. If they will choose the INEC chairman, we need to overhaul that constitution to clean up all this mess in such a way that the president will not have absolute power. Just imagine a situation where the president will wake up and suspend the CBN governor. That means if you don't play his game, he's going to get rid of you. If Emefiele was actually work for Tinubu during election, you think Tinubu will remove him? Oh, he's going to be a son. They will even re-elect him another 4 years. So this is what happened. We need this institution to be really like independent. People can speak. Look at America. FBI will go to the house of the president and say, the son of the president is currently investigated. Seriously. You know, that shows you the level of independence. Can you investigate the president of Nigeria? Who is the DSS? Who is the police? Who is the military? How? You lose your job the next day. So these are issues we really need to sit down and try to honestly resolve them, so that we don't have people that are above the law. If the law catch up with you, you face the music. So Currently, we don't have that. So I think these are our issue. I will be back in a few minutes. I'm getting on another meeting.
Ayo, before you go,
AY, not Tayo, man. Come
okay, AY. Before you go, one thing I don't agree with in terms of the legislative arm is not independent. The legislative arm is completely independent of its own. The truth of the matter is, the legislative arm does checks and balances on the executive. Now, if the legislative arm wants to change the narrative, they can change it. But they are in cahoots, if I'm using the right word, with the executive in terms of corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to change that, I say again, for the record, it is left for the people, because the people are the one that does checks and balance on what.
I'm afraid my principal, electricity. You've just been quite hypocritical in one sentence, which is to say the judiciary is independent yet in cahoots.
No. Wait. No, I didn't say judiciary, Jagun. My focus has been the legislative arms. I didn't say judiciary.
Fair enough. You therefore must have said the legislative arm is in cahoots with the executive.
With the executive.
Which says that it's not independence, that's interdependence, which is not independent. So AY, he stands.
Let me rephrase. Allow me to rephrase. Because of the corruption that exists between the executive and the legislative arms, the legislative arm has failed to do their checks, the necessary checks and balance on the executive. In highlighting what AY says, you can see how the lawmakers in the US are on Biden's son's case. Okay, even though it's still the police and that will do, or the judiciary that will, but you can see how the opposition party, let me put it that way, the opposition party, which is a Republican, are on the case of Joe Biden's son. Now, they also, if you notice, the Kevin McCarthy, even though some people said his move was wrong, has raised an impeachment inquiry in respect to Joe Biden. If you're familiar with that, as raised. Now, all this process or procedure are also enshrined in our Constitution. Let me say this to you, Jagun. If the issue of Bola Tinubu amendment certificate wants to be resolved today without involving Chicago, this and that, if the lawmakers who are sitting down there today wants to resolve this matter today, as we and I are talking today, to say, listen, we need you to provide your certificate to confirm that this is your certificate, they can do it. But they are failing to do that because all these issues are enshrined in the Constitution. And whatever Constitution we are going to write again, this same thing will be included. For those of us condemning the Constitution, that is our problem. I can guarantee you that if not 90%, 80% of what is in the current existing Constitution will reflect in the next Constitution you and I are going to write. It will be copy and paste. We will do some editing. We will take some things out, but 80% of what is in this current Constitution will reflect in the next Constitution we are going to write. So my point is this. If the problem, that is why I stand to tell you that my focus is on the legislative arm of the government. I'm not saying the other institutions are not important. They are all equally important. But the legislative arm of the government carries so much weight to get certain things right, particularly in respect to the executive. But they failed in their duty. And because they failed in their duty, it becomes a challenge. Atiku is in US suing was it Chicago University or Soprano Chicago University to provide the original certificate of Tinubu. Do you know Atiku's intention? Do you think Atiku really cares for the nation? He doesn't. Yes,
No.
he's pursuing it, but he has his own hidden intention. Not because he gives a damn about Nigeria. Let's be honest with ourselves. He has his own hidden. Yeah, on the long run, it may be good for the nation at large if the result comes, the judgment or the decision comes out that he did not attend Chicago University. That is a ground for the president to be taken to remove himself. So the next person who is the second in the election, in the result, I think is Atiku. That means Atiku will become president. If I am correct, he's the second. P2B is third. So he has his own intention, his own motive. How genuine are his motive? We fail to look at that as well too. It's a good thing, but if we focus, like I said, I have taken what you said on board in terms of making representation. I have 2 broadcasts to do tomorrow and next tomorrow. Subsequent broadcasts will be how we make this representation to power that be. For us to at least, we need to do something, because to be honest, I'm tired of coming and talking. I'm really honest. I'm telling you for the first time that I am. If you see, some of the ladies have already got off this platform because they're tired. And with time, most of us will be tired because we have not started to do something. People are getting tired. At a certain point, I also will get tired. Okay? And everybody will get tired. But I don't want us to come to that point. That is why we need to put something into action as a form of encouragement, as a zeal that will push us forward. Let's leave our mark in history so that posterity will smile at us. I yield the floor to the next person, please. Thank you.
So let me quickly, before I left the place, you were saying that the legislative, they have independence, right? So that is actually
your volume is hold on. Let me mute other people, or let me mute Jagun. Okay, go ahead. Let me mute myself too.
Hello, can you hear me now? Yeah, I said you were saying that the legislature, they have their independence, which that is in theory, really. In practical, the politics of Nigeria, there is no independence in Nigeria. It's only the president that have the power. I will say this, right? The president of Nigeria is way too powerful. It's like a monarchy system. That is why you see the moment you become the president, everybody will come and bow down to you. That's what they do. The president, you see how he was involved in choosing the Senate president. He nominated the Senate president. He nominated the speaker. All the executive member of the House, they're working with him. So except maybe, I'm not saying in theory they have their independence, but in reality, they don't. Except somebody, if Peter Obi was there, because they are not from the same party, maybe they will do their job. As we speak today, before you will see any bill, any request in Senate, in House of Rep, it's coming from the presidency. They've decided what they want to do with it. This is the truth. If the president want to borrow money today, he will just call them, we need this $10 trillion, so Alpha. Don't worry, it will pass through. That's it. It will go through, except in a case like when Saraki, first tenure of Buhari, right? They were at loggerhead. Saraki was rejecting some things. Not that they don't have the power, but it is a gag up, a corrupt system that people always think of what they will gain. Oh, for you to approve, oh, okay, take $1 million, share for boys, take yours. They get it approved. So now, who is going to investigate the member of the Senate and House of Rep?
It's you and I, Ayo.
So the other thing is,
Ayo, hold on 1 second. It is you and I because they represent us. And that is where section 68 and 110 comes into. Honestly speaking, you'll be tired of hearing this. You see, this thing is second. I repeat for the record, there is this romance of corruption between the executive and the legislative arm. Like you pointed out, for example, look at the 7 billion palliative that was given to them. Okay, that is okay. We will approve this for you. This is our own. But you see, if they get their act right, the executive, their job is to put the executive in check. You see, in the president choosing Akpabio, the deal was made before that time. Don't forget, Akpabio sacrificed, just like the way allegedly Wike gave Rivers State to APC. The same way Akpabio did. It's a done deal. I give you this, you give me this in return.
So
it's a done deal.
Electricity. So which brings us back to the fundamentals that Jagun raised, that power belonging to the people. Before we go ahead to copy somebody else's constitution, like this 1999 did, the American Constitution allows. That's why we have to sit down and talk how we want to do our own. America holds their own House of Assembly elections for Senate and House of Rep every 2 years, which is free and fair. So that if they know the recall is difficult, but the moment you don't do what you've been elected to do, to go represent the people, there's a 2 years reckoning for you. And it is unlike the presidency where you only have 2 terms. Senate, House of Rep, you can go for as number of times that you want. If we have a free and fair election, but Nigeria, I think because of the cost of elections, without thinking of the repercussion, the cost of holding elections, they decided to have it every 4 years for them. You understand? And election, if they have it free and fair, when these guys know they are not coming back to collect that fast salary they've made for themselves, when they know
sorry, are you driving?
Yeah,
no, you are not supposed to, in the interest of health and safety.
Let me get a truck in the drive, so.
All right, sorry. I just observed it. I thought he was sitting down in the interest of health and safety. So when you pull over, send me a private chat there. But I don't want to, in the interest of health and safety, because you're on a video and you're driving. I don't want to be held responsible for anything. So let's summarize. Okay, let me do my own summary. I think I've done my own summary. We'll take it from after on Friday and what Jagun proposed for us to start to for us to start to do something. Whatever application we are looking for, I'm telling you, Jagun, it's standing right in front of us. It's not locked in any box. You just made a proposal now. Let's start with me. That is an application as well too. Maybe that is what is locked in the box that you've just unlocked now. So it's not in fireplace. It's not going to fall from heaven. And it's not something that's difficult for us to now say, okay, how do we, as a group, we come here every time? Genuinely, I must commend everyone that always attend this out of genuine concern for the country, because none of us believed that we will be sitting down here one day talking about Nigeria, because as far as we're concerned, we are in a better place. But it is still our country, our upbringing. Maybe our children won't do that, but we are doing it for the sake of our children and for the sake of those on ground there. So going forward, like I said, I am open to solutions, not just talk for hours. I thought I'll finish by 2 hours. I didn't envisage it's going to be up to 2 hours, but we've gone past 2 hours, going to 3 hours. I don't like dragging issues. So the confab, we will look at it, because if we don't make representation, it will just be the same circle all over and over and over again. So that is my own submission. I will come up with something, and where we can, I will discuss with Rudolph where we can have everybody come. It's just, unfortunately, the platform can't take everybody. Maybe we will connect to Zoom so that we can have other people on Zoom as well too, in Diaspora, because it's impossible for us to meet physically in one place. No, let me use the word impossible. It's a difficult task for us to say, okay, we all will gather, those in US, in Canada, in UK, in everywhere. Now that's going to be a big challenge or logistics involved in it. But where we all can see each other's face in a private, not in public, not necessarily in public, but in a private chat, not heard to the public, and have this discussion on way forward. I am open to that. And that should be the way forward. I yield the floor to the next person for your submission before we call it a day. Thank you. Any one of you can go next, please. Jagun, yeah, you're muted, Jagun.
Yeah, I think AY may be in a meeting. So I'll round up and again applaud what you have said, Electricity, in terms of making the communication targeted to intelligence and what we feel strongly about and what we're going to put on paper. I applaud that movement. My submission is Nigeria is of serious importance, not just to us because it's our country, but to every Black individual on this planet, to be frank. We hold a serious responsibility to which we are not really grappling with, unfortunately, as a nation. And at the thought of our politicians, this is where we are. I feel that Niger and those Francophone countries that have seen that the puppet that they've had in front of them being positioned by the Western world is something that I thought that they would not see before we saw. But they have seen it before we've seen it, in real terms. Niger particularly, they have just won the fight with the French in themselves. They have finally kicked the French out of their country. Now, all these Francophone countries in West Africa and Central Africa, they need a strong country behind them in order to make sure that they do not slope back into the hands of the Western governments. Now, I see it, if Nigeria doesn't stand up and smell the coffee and become an independent nation within itself, we suffer the whole Black race. This is how important I feel it is. Apart from, Nigeria has to be a haven for me, because not only am I tired with the Nigerian question, I'm actually very tired with living in the West. I don't really want to be here. I like the West, don't get me wrong, but it's not my home. And, I have issues with being here. I want to go back home. I want to be able to travel the world from Nigeria, not from the UK or America or anywhere else. I want to be able to travel the world and return to my home country. These are practicalities right now. I have to be here, have to be, unless I'm somewhere else in Europe or somewhere else in the West or somewhere else in the world. But I'm not on the African soil where I feel I can do much more before my days are numbered. So I'm dealing with time. I'm dealing with time. I enjoy my life. I'm a happy enough person, but I want to live my life to the fullest. I want to see my land. You know, I want to see my beauty. When I'm in Nigeria, I see so much beauty that we don't have here in the UK. And the UK is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but Nigeria is a different kind of beauty where I'm concerned. And that's really where I want to be. So it's of urgency, it's of importance on so many different levels that we get back our country. So yeah, I still feel that there is something that we are missing, whether it be just the honesty and the dignity of being a human being, because what we see in front of us is impunity, dishonesty, and evil, bedevilment to the highest order in our country. And what I also see is that Nigeria is actually ahead in global terms of being so open and blatant about the bedevilment of what's going on. In the West, which I feel is completely failed as a cultured, respectable, worldly leader or leaders, because what's coming out of the mouths of the Western governments today is completely divorced of anything called decency or honesty or culture. It's anti-culture that's going on in the West. And we as Nigerians about the world in the West, we have come to join them in their anti-culture. We learning more about the anti-culture and supporting anti-culture is what we're sending back home, just to make it worse. So we really got to be careful about what we do day to day, what we believe, what we imbibe, what we take in. It's of ultimate importance. I like the fact that you have a spiritual background, yourself, electricity. I don't know if you're a pastor or if you're ex-pastor or something. Yeah, but it's important. It's important that somehow, doesn't matter how bad things get, we stay on the side of righteousness. And
yeah, that's correct.
I'll leave it there. You know what I mean?
I highlighted a comment. Can either of you confirm if this is true? What is on the
screen?
Yeah, on the screen there.
Afro, what's his name? Afro 7.
Yeah, from 2010 to 2020, approximately 20 million Nigerian diaspora remitted over 230 billion US dollar into Nigeria. Is that statistics?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's that much, 230, but I do know it's more. The remittance going into Nigeria is bigger than the oil industry in Nigeria. That's what I'll tell you.
So you see why I brought it. I know we're about to close. It highlights the kind of power we hold.
That's right.
That's just one of the reasons.
I've made mention of it before, that I said that I don't know how, but the amount of money coming in as remittance to Nigeria needs to be used before it's just given to the hands of our people to spend on food. You understand? And then it just dissipates. That kind of money is money that can turn everything around. That kind of money,
honestly speaking, it is staggering amount of money, to be honest. You see why I said we in diaspora, we sit in a privileged position right now. Even if it's not up to 230 billion, let's just go to 200 billion. Even $100 billion is still something that if we come together, we can. You see, I would not support people not sending money homes to our folks in Nigeria. But for crying out loud, it has not improved their life in any way. Let's be honest with ourselves. It has not. But if we put it now to other youths to say, listen, we want to better this country, because it's not easy for us working this money either. Honestly speaking, I do night shift. I hate it's not easy.
I've just done a quick calculation. Nigeria produces about 2 million roughly 2 million barrels a day. On a 2 million barrels a month level, yeah, times 12 is 21 billion. So whatever's coming into Nigeria from remittances is more than 21 billion. So that figure may be correct. Who knows?
I will find the correct statistics, and then we will talk on it in respect to the application you bring on the table, and we'll see how far we'll go with that. But I will not be involving myself with any conversation of long hours and heading nowhere. I've made that decision. I'm making it public now. If you notice, for some time I've not been present. I only come and I just disappear. I just come briefly and I leave, because honestly, I am tired of this talk and going nowhere. It's good for socialization, but I think I can do socialization somewhere else. Anyway, the floor is yours, your submission, and we call it today. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I think we've said it all. Yeah, I think what is one thing you said that I like, we need to look into is how to be practical about most of the things we're discussing. Even if it's a form of like try to see how we can pass this information to the people on ground, and just to educate the people more. Because we in abroad, one thing I noticed, the way we think is kind of different, probably because of our economy independence. Because people back home, most of them, they still depend on some of them begging the politicians, at the mercy of people, even people of our age mates, at the mercy of their parents to feed them. The country is bad. Things are really bad. You see them, people running after politicians that don't even know what they're doing, right? Just what they will gain. I think education of our people is very, very important. I think things are getting better. You might think nothing is improving. In terms of the people are becoming aware, to be honest. I think it will continue to get better. It is our country. We can't abandon our country because we want to be home. We want to be home. So one day, hopefully, things get much, much better. Thank you.
Before you run, please highlight the last comment made by TJ Mack. I think I didn't get his name correct.
I saw the comment, Jagun.
Okay.
I want to acknowledge his contribution to the Dr. Damage's Rudolph program. However, I will not be highlighting it because it's not passing out a positive vibe.
But no. Well, I feel you see.
Wait,
if that's the
Jagun,
truth, if what he's saying is
Jagun, wait, hold on 1 second. I have issues with Team Ajay. I have blocked him once before. Rudolph unblocked him. So it's not. We are not new to each other. When he wants to, it's on record. So I'm not suppressing the man's this thing. I'm not suppressing him. You see, I am being careful. Okay, if you read it, yes. If I highlight it, it will be a different discussion. It's not passing the positive vibes that it should pass. Okay, it's not passing that positive vibes. Okay, okay. Let me highlight it. You will agree with me what I'm saying. Okay, just for the purpose of this discussion. Okay, because we are trying to forge a way ahead. Anything that will pull us back, I don't think we should entertain. That is my position. Okay, he can do this when other people are doing their broadcasts. Fair enough. But the sort of vibes we passed out also equally matters. Okay, because here it is. It's saying it's not a capital expense. Diaspora's money can't compete with government coffers. Now, is that a good vibes? Let's be honest with yourself, Jagun. Because we're trying to move forward.
Okay, let me tell you my thought on this.
Okay.
In reading it, I thought, wow, that's quite deep. But then I thought, you know what? If we're bringing in the kind of numbers that was suggested, or basically the fact that we're bringing in more than the oil revenue into Nigeria, that's a serious sum of money. And whether or not the government coffers are deeper, it doesn't say that we can't use our money better. Because all we really need is a solid representative to all fall behind. And then we, especially in the diaspora, we now galvanize our people in and out of the country to fall in behind this person and let them try and rig the election. Let them try and rig it again. Because the fact is, if we have another election tomorrow, it's going to be rigged away from us as a people. So if we use the power intelligently, we would win. It's simple. That's my thought. So I hear your personal issue, but you know, we're all Nigerians, or we all have something to say.
He thinks I'm suppressing it's his opinion. It's already out there in the comment section. So Truly. It's a choice for me to highlight it and not to highlight it. So it's not suppressing. I can't stop him from what he's saying in the comment section, but I have that choice to either highlight it or not to highlight it.
Indeed, and I agree.
In the open world. So
as a moderator on a good show, you're quite correct. I saw it and felt that there's a balance to what was put forward beforehand in terms of this is the remittance going into Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, we have to have the argument, be it negative or positive. We have to have the argument, and from that argument, we have to forge some kind of agreement that we can put on paper and begin to build upon. If we've got that, I'm telling you, it'll give all of us so much energy. If we've got a piece of paper that is written in such a way that is written on our heart and mind, but the way we walk in our genuine walk of day would be different because we're walking with our energy. Me, I can tell you right now, I'm weakened. I have become weakened by what has taken place. No, by what has taken place with the elections. Because my brother, I'm telling you the truth of myself.
I understand.
You know, I've been as an individual, I've been fighting for Nigeria since I was 18, and in terms of consciously, not just feeling proud, consciously with my businesses, with my money, with my friends, with my contacts. I've been fighting for that place. Coming into last year, coming into the new year, I had so much last hope. Prayers were being followed. And I'm not the most prayerful person, but I was praying, man, that this time we've got to get it right. By the time we didn't, but my head was in my hands, feeling that Nigeria is doomed. It's only this program that has picked me up again. I'm telling you, because there are a lot of people that I know, Nigerians, who have forgotten. They've put Nigeria behind them. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people like that. So
I'm going to encourage you further, Jagun. I believe majority of Nigeria shares the same feelings and sentiments in respect to this last election. But one thing I keep telling people is this: the principal person, who is Peter Obi, I believe also he will have come to a point of, you know what, I can't be bothered with this trouble.
I'm telling you, bro.
But it keeps going. Just the same way you and I said here, I'm tired of all this talk and talk. But we keep coming every day because there's still something that is propelling us. That small little hope. That tiny little hope is still there. And it will never die. It will not. I pray it shouldn't die because it's necessary. That hope is necessary. So I would tell you, don't give up, because if people like you give up, people like AY give up, and people like Rudolph give up, and it's gonna be very challenging, because in all fairness to Rudolph, this is one channel that he has tried not to make it a tribal thing, even though some people want to or would have pushed it that way. He has tried not to make it a tribal thing. He has made it very possible for everyone to welcome everyone aboard. And I must commend him for for that on that ground. So, but there are other channels that are tribal based, and but like I said, don't give up, please, and we will call it a day. I will be back on here tomorrow. I think that's 5:30. I'm back on here on Friday as well. Friday is gonna be it's gonna be long hours. Friday will be from 7 p.m. till infinity. So I'm prepared for Friday because we need to cover. I want to cover a lot of things on Friday in respect to the broadcast on Friday.
That's this Friday coming, Abi. I may not be available, man. Next Friday.
Tomorrow. Next tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'll be available, but if I am, I'll come in. But
I will start 7 p.m. if I'm correct till midnight or over midnight. So
sure.
Yeah, we'll be there. All right. For those of you in the comment section, thank you, Timajek. I'm not suppressing you. You can hear, but I take personal view in negativity or whatever it is. Yeah, we can have discussion, but I don't have to be negative. That is my position. So thank you, and God bless you.
God bless. Thank you.